tracking tool theft, as more than 80% of tradespeople in the UK report that they've had their tools stolen at some points in their career, and there are associated costs, then damage, tool replacement, lost work as well, running into the hundreds of millions of pounds. We're asking, have you or someone you know been impacted by tool theft? Call or WhatsApp me on 03700 100 110. You can text as well, 81012. Let's speak to Rico Wojtulewicz from the National Federation of Builders. Rico, thanks for joining me this afternoon. I mean, look, how big an issue is tool theft in the trade world?
Hi, JP. Yeah, it's devastating, and it's growing all the time. And as we approach the kind of summer period where more work is being done, it will typically spike. So unfortunately, you're catching it right at the start. And it affects every type of business. So whether you're the smallest or the largest.
Yeah, look, the stats really took me back when I read them this morning. 80% of tradespeople, and then there's an insurance statistic that says that a tool gets stolen once every 12 minutes, which is incredible when you think about it. And so I suppose, Rico, it leads you to the conclusion that it's a lot more common than most of us think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you think of it, people often think of it, this happened on a building site, but actually quite a lot of it is opportunism or organised crime. People working within a home or a building, and they've got their van outside, and they're going in between the van and the job, and opportunism is impactful there. But quite often, as the season grows, the construction season grows, we're seeing organised crime going after these individuals doing these works. And you brought insurance there.
Yeah,
that's a really good point, because the more crime there is, the higher the cost of those premiums go up to insure your tools and your job, and that then prohibits more people from entering the industry back after they've replaced the tools.
Yeah, and I suppose if you're a tradesperson and you're starting up, or you're looking to make ends meet, maybe you're in a situation where you're thinking, actually, can I afford the insurance? Is that high? Is it a cost I can forgo? And then you get stung. So there's that kind of debate going on as well. And I suppose the thing with tools, if I'm right in saying, Rico, is that because they've got a high sell-on price, they're not cheap. Organised crime gangs think, well, actually, it's worth sort of focusing on this because this is an area where money can be made.
Yeah, absolutely. And good quality tools are not cheap. And, you might get a 50, 60% discount on the tools. That's a considerable amount. And people think it's just stealing tools, but it's not. It's stealing livelihoods with, almost 50% of the industry self-employed. Yeah. It's really quite a too common occurrence, but also because not a lot of action is taken against thieves. People don't feel as though they're well supported. So, you look, it's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy as well, because people then buy second-hand tools in order to replace the tools they've lost, but they might be buying stolen tools themselves. So it's a horrible situation for the industry.
Tell us a little bit more about the impact there, Rico. You've alluded to it, because I understand some end up losing months of work or even going out of business.
Yeah, I mean, we always talk about late payment being hard enough in the industry.
Yeah.
But if you're an individual and you lose tools, you might not be able to work them for a few weeks at a minimum. If you're part of a small company, it might be that the director or the person in charge of that company just absorb those costs so that he can, they can continue that business operating. Everyone else gets paid. They don't, which then potentially puts that business at risk, and there you're losing 3 members of staff if that business goes under, or 5 members of staff. So it hits different sectors of the industry differently. And even very big companies now, we're seeing, as I mentioned, many people are self-employed. We're seeing kind of large lockers or kind of storage facilities on site that are either CCTV or manned throughout the night, where the self-employed workers can put their tools, because even if they go home, you can't keep your tools in a van anymore, because, as I say, the organised criminals will even target those vans.
Yeah, sometimes, Rico, you see the sign, don't you, on the back of vans that no tools kept in this van overnight. But I guess it's not much of a deterrent. I mean, you're talking about lockups. Is that the way forward, you think, in terms of, if I ask you, how do tradesmen protect themselves?
I mean, it's...
Because it's...
The way forward is better policing in reality, and this being taken as a crime of some seriousness. But of course, if you're just trying to find a solution now, yeah, those lockups are probably the best solution. But even then, it's a hell of a cost if you're even on a large project for having 24-hour security.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I guess, the theft of petrol and diesel has increased, so fuel theft has gone up, and now we're covering fuel theft and tool theft all on site, and actually material theft as well. People don't talk about that a lot, but actually the theft of materials has gone up. We used to talk about it in churches, you're losing your lead or your copper pipes. Even on construction sites now, people are just nicking materials all the time.
Rico, I want to just pick up on something you just mentioned there. You also said how sort of late payment. I got a couple of mates in the trade, and that's something I've chatted to them a little bit about. I mean, how common is that the need to chase people for payment?
I have never met a builder who hasn't faced a late payment issue.
Is that right?
Yeah, never. And to be fair to this government, they came in and they are pushing through late payment regulation, which will ensure that larger companies don't pay late, and there are some fines and some regulations in place to make that harder for them to avoid these issues or those practices. But there's lots more to solve in the industry. And of course, it's not just late payment, it's people that don't pay. There are people that kind of think, well, if you're a smaller company, why should they be paying this amount? Well, actually, it's a skilled job to be a tradesman and actually or a tradesperson. And also, the cost of materials has gone up considerably, and people don't account for that. They just think, well, why can't I get a bathroom done for a few £100s? Quite often because you can't afford it. And I want to give a special mention actually to builders merchants here, because quite often late payment is absorbed by the fact that tradespeople don't have to pay for their materials automatically. They can have a 30 or 60-day layoff. Not everybody, but many people have that access, and that actually helps tackle the late payment issue. But it's horrible, really, really difficult. If you've got a mortgage to pay, how do you deal with it?
Yeah, Rico, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. That's Rico Wojtulewicz from the National Federation of Builders talking about how common tool theft is and the problems that cause, but also other issues such as late payment that cause real issues as well. So call or WhatsApp